Welcome to Richplanet TV. I'm Richard D. Hall. On today's show I catch up with retired police detective Gary Heseltine at his UFO conference in Yorkshire. I will also be featuring some of the work of Lloyd Pye and the Starchild Skull. This 900-year-old skull has had considerable DNA sequencing carried out on it, and Lloyd Pye contends the results show this being cannot have originated from planet Earth. But before all that, let's get the advertising out of the way. If you want to meet me and see some of the new material I've been researching, the Richplanet 2014 tour starts on the 22nd of February next year. And for just 10 quid you can come along to one of the venues, kicking off at Great Yarmouth's Grosvenor Casino on the 22nd of February. Then Doncaster Regent Hotel on the 23rd, Manchester Premier Suite in Audenshaw on the 24th, Birmingham Alve Church Sports and Social Club on the 27th, Newcastle Irish Centre on the 28th, Hastings Royal Victoria Hotel on the 1st of March, and the Parkway Hotel in Cwmbran, Wales on the 5th of March. In the talks I will be looking into some of the mass shooting events in the UK and putting forward the argument that none of them have been carried out as was presented in the media, i.e. by lone gunmen acting independently. All of them had clear motives, and in all cases the true perpetrators have not been caught. I will be explaining the true motives behind these crimes and why the alleged perpetrators in all these cases are in fact innocent patsies. I will also give an update on the Richplanet Tell Your MP About 7/7 campaign. There has been a significant development in this. Also, I should be able to give some details of the underground ancient pyramid found in Wales. The finders are currently asking me to keep the details secret, but hopefully by then I'll be able to say more. I will also be talking about a new film I'm working on covering one of the most forbidden subjects on Earth related to UFOs. I may well add a London venue at some point after these talks, currently being looked into. So don't be shy, get yourself along, meet other people who have their eyes open. You might just enjoy it. Tickets available now from richplanet.net. Another meetup you might be interested in Newcastle. Members from the old North East Truth group will be meeting at the Bridge Hotel pub in Newcastle upon Tyne on Saturday the 21st of December 2013. Now the pagan sun worship festival, some call it Christmas, is just around the corner, and if you need to buy a last minute gift to alleviate your guilt, why not try the Richplanet shop, where we have hundreds of DVDs, books, t-shirts, calendars, mugs, etc. Most of the products are exclusively from richplanet.net. You will not find them in WH Smith's. Now, as you might know, I am not a fan of mainstream news, and I try to watch it in very short bursts, just to keep an eye on the pap being fed to the masses. One story caught my eye as a classic contrived Hegelian dialectic problem-reaction-solution farce. The story of 3 women rescued from a house in Lambeth after allegedly being held as slaves for 30 years. This story was put out by most, if not all, of our gutter press. The BBC website said, a Malaysian woman, 69, an Irish woman, 57, and a Briton, 30, were rescued on the 25th of October. It emerged on Thursday. A man, 73, and a woman, 67, understood to be married, were arrested in Lambeth and later bailed until January. The Home Secretary, Theresa May, said details were still emerging in Lambeth, South London, but it was clear that many other victims were hidden in plain sight across the country. It transpired that one of these so-called slaves had been working, wait for it, drum roll, in a nail bar. I'm enslaved in a nail bar, please let me out. I can assure you a nail bar is not the sort of place I would want to be enslaved in either. I spent 30 years imprisoned against my will. Oh really? Where did you do your time? Wandsworth nail bar. Really? The screws are really cruel in them nail bars. They only allow 5-minute fag breaks, and you have to stick to set fingernail designs. There is just no artistic freedom there. If a person abuses another person, do we not already have laws that deal with this? Theresa May then starts going on saying that we need to deal with modern day slavery by inventing new laws. Thousands of Geordie men will be getting locked up for being heard to utter the forbidden words, "Make me a cup of tea, pet." I then saw a psychologist being interviewed talking about how charismatic people with strong personalities can start cults with the aim of enslaving people and how we need to protect ourselves against them. So that's what this is all about, controlling people who spread ideology, or perhaps even the truth. This farcical story shows just how scared the manipulators are of certain ideas which are growing in the public mindset. Ideas that are based on truth. Here is a quote from the Nazi Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. "If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. In our case, it's the lie about 7/7. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic and/or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus, by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state." That's it. The truth is the greatest enemy of the state, and this applies to the UK right here, right now. New laws to clamp down on modern day slavery are being laid down to stamp out the enemy of the state, the truth. Now, a long time ago, when I first embarked on my engineering career, I became disillusioned with the challenges I was being tasked with. Is this it? I used to think to myself, until I'm 60 blinking 5. Now, being very young, impressionable and perhaps a little naive, wanting more of a challenge, I thought about joining the armed forces. This 22-year-old baby-faced lad walked into the Army Careers Advice Centre in Newcastle upon Tyne to ask a few questions. "What can I do for you, sonny?" the assertive army man asked me. I said I had some questions about the kind of work on offer. I sat down and he started taking my particulars. "Have you got any qualifications, sonny?" "Yes, I've got 9 O-levels. His eyebrow raised. "Anything else?" "I have 3 A-levels. "Okay, very good. I also have an honours degree in engineering." At this point, everything changed. "You have a degree, sir?" Suddenly, I was no longer being called Sonny. "Yes," I replied. "Oh, well, you'll be in for officer training, sir. I'll have to get you an interview with the major." "But I just want to ask a few simple questions." "No, sir, you need to see the major, sir. I will see when he's available, sir." Needless to say, I didn't join the army, but did have a brief rendezvous with their recruitment people and found the whole thing a little Bob Lazar. Perhaps if circumstances had been different, I would have joined, like thousands of others every year. I do have respect for those who do join. Everyone has their own journey in life, and who am I to criticise those that join the army, when in fact I nearly joined up myself? It is those that contrive situations using false flag terror and thus bring about improper use of the armed forces in conflicts based on lies and propaganda that I have the utmost contempt for, not those being used to carry it out. Propaganda has always been part of the armed forces agenda. "Your country needs you," as the motto used to say. Really. But like everything else in our contrived, manipulative culture, the government can no longer sell the virtues of war with simple advertising and overt propaganda campaigns of the past. That would be far too transparent. Millions of people would complain that taxpayers' money was being wasted on warmongering advertising campaigns. But the manipulators have found a way around this problem. They have started disguising their propaganda campaigns. They are disguised well. So well that anyone criticising them would be deemed evil and uncharitable. You guessed it, they are disguising their war propaganda as charities. Help for Heroes is one, launched in 2007 with a huge leg up from mainstream media shouting its praises. It pulled in over £13 million in its first year of operation. It is virtually impossible to go to the toilet for a dump in a motorway service station these days without having this campaign shoved in your face, or go about your everyday business without seeing their logos and collecting tins somewhere or other. They rattle the tin and say, "Help for Heroes, sir." Immediately this happens, your conscience is filled with fear about being branded a traitor if you do not drop your pound coin into the tin. The purpose of getting me to drop my pound coin in the tin is not so somebody can collect my coin. Just like the purpose of dropping my turd in the motorway service station is not so somebody can collect my turd. Oh no. There is a deeper agenda at work. The real purpose of dropping my turd is to make me feel better. The purpose of dropping the coin is the same. It makes me feel better. But in doing so, you have now visibly performed an act that supports illegal war. If only I could drop my turd in the tin instead. I will be exposing more about the Help for Heroes in my upcoming 2014 tour. As if Help for Heroes wasn't enough, we now have another war propaganda campaign, thinly disguised as a charity, with Walking with the Wounded, being loudly trumpeted by our very own illegitimate ginger prince, Harry Hewitt. It says on their own Walking with Harry Hewitt website, "Why do we need another service charity indeed?" is a question we are often asked. There are many existing organisations and military charities, each doing a wonderful job for our wounded, but we felt there was something missing. One word summarised it: inspiration. Really? Upon visiting my local pub, the Grey Horse, in concert for a pint of real ale, I was given a free gift from the promoters of Walking with Harry Hewitt. It's a flask. This delightful little free trinket is a little bribe from the propaganda campaign, thinly disguised as a charity, to warm me to the idea that getting your legs blown off in an illegal war is an honourable and noble thing to do. I'd like to ask how many of the wounded they are walking with are from the thousands of children injured in Pakistan from American drone attacks. Will there be any wounded from the bombs planted by former Deputy Iraqi Prime Minister Tariq al-Hashimi's henchmen? Will there be any wounded from the fake terror attack carried out in London 2005 by operatives who are still at large? The latest farce organised by Walking with Harry Hewitt, a propaganda campaign thinly disguised as a charity, is an expedition to the South Pole. Interesting. But not just a mere expedition to the South Pole. Oh no, it's a race to the South Pole. On your marks, get set, Hewitt! Victoria Nicholson, expedition manager, hang on, I thought it was a race, not an expedition, said Team Glenfiddich were leading for the first few minutes, with the Commonwealth soldier on team close on their heels and the US Noom coach team behind, weaving their way through the sastrugi, trying to find the flattest route, blah 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 blah. Now, the South Pole is a hell of a long way just to go, just to promote war, but I smell a possible second agenda in addition to war propaganda. Does anyone remember last summer there was a planned expedition by explorer Sir Ranulph Fiennes to the South Pole, which they decided to do during the South Pole winter, when it is permanently dark, minus 70 degrees, and even penguins die of hypothermia. This expedition was given huge coverage in mainstream media, and stages of the trip were going to be broadcast on live TV. But the expedition was abandoned early on, and no one got to see live images of the South Pole on telly. Is the Walking with Harry Hewitt race to the South Pole designed to replace the previously failed South Pole public perception exercise? Let's just digress for a second, because I need to point out a couple of things about the South Pole that certain people have claimed. Here is Stan Deo, a credible whistleblower who worked at a secret facility in Australia in the 1970s, which was developing various technologies outlined in his book, The Cosmic Conspiracy.
I was approached by one of the senior executives of this company to go meet with a Dr. James R. Maxfield at the Radiation Research Clinic over a couple miles from where we had the office in Dallas. At this time is when I first got introduced to this clandestine organization in the United States that was headed by Dr. Edward Teller, and who Maxfield worked with Teller. And this organization had been working since the mid-50s on something like 50-some-odd projects, all related directly to flying saucer technology, if you wish to put it down to that level. I was just the latecomer on the scene. They showed me about their base down at the South Pole and the ice cap, how you had to access it by submarine or something similar.
So Stan Deo claims there is a secret Antarctic underground base which can be accessed by submarine. Now, this was 1971 when Stan Deo was given this information. If a base does exist, perhaps it is much more extensive now than in 1971. Who knows? Now, the largest known community in Antarctica is at the US-controlled McMurdo Station, capable of accommodating over 1,200 personnel. In the 1960s, the station used to run a 1.8 megawatt nuclear power plant until it was replaced by diesel generators in 1972. The station is Antarctica's largest community and is a functional modern-day science station which includes a harbour, 3 airfields, a heliport and more than 100 buildings. All personnel and cargo going to or from the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, which is the southernmost habitation point on Earth at the geographic South Pole, must first pass through the McMurdo Station. Now recently, this year, October 2013, it was announced by the US Congress that it has decided to shut down much of its Antarctic research programs, which apparently is being opposed by scientists. The reason given in the media is US government cutbacks. Major parts of the US Antarctic research programs are to be mothballed. Contracts for support personnel who fly planes, drive trucks, cook food, run drills, clean domes and set up field camps have been cancelled by the shutdown. So I ask the question, could there be another reason for the shutdown of the US Antarctic bases other than government cutbacks? Could the Walking with Harry Hewitt race to the South Pole, which includes an American team, be a perception management exercise? A perception management exercise to convince everyone there really is nothing worth seeing at the South Pole. There can't possibly be a secret base under Antarctica because Harry Hewitt would have seen it. Now, as you may know, I have been encouraging Richplanet viewers to visit their MPs and tell them the truth about the London bombings of 2005. Since the last interview with Dr. Nick Colostrom, which aired on the previous show, I have identified a list of 26 MPs who have shown a more positive attitude towards the information we have given them. Many of these MPs voted against military action in Syria. The 26 MPs are being encouraged by me to speak with each other, and I have had contact from one of these MPs who has agreed to start negotiating with the other MPs on this issue. Now, while on the subject of Syria, the parliamentary vote to take military action against Syria was quashed by just a 9-vote majority on the 30th of August this year, 2013. Over this last year, around 100 MPs have had documents from Richplanet viewers about the London bombings. Now, I wonder how many of these 100 MPs changed their view on terrorism having read the documents. For example, my own MP, Dave Anderson, voted for the war in Iraq but voted against military action in Syria. If 9 of the 100 MPs changed their minds because of the Richplanet campaign, that means Richplanet viewers have prevented UK participation in military action against Syria. I make this point to remind people that we can make a difference and we must not throw in the towel. The London bombings evidence needs to be exposed again and again and again. I'd like to thank everyone who has so far downloaded the documents from the website and taken them to their MP. There are over 500 MPs, however, who have not been personally given these documents. Please, I urge everyone to check this link, see if your MP hasn't had the documents, and if not, print them out, about 40 pages, and take them to your MP. It is making a difference. Join us after the break.